It's like I've noticed something that you want to work so hard for your family that you fail to spend time with your family. And it's like, as a man, I see how easy it is to fall into that trap of just working so hard for them and just taking time just to play with Autumn. You know, have a conversation with my wife because I'm just working to provide, and it's like they not spending time with me. So that's one of the things. But defining success for me, as what you guys have said, is just being faithful to what God has called me to. And it's like, how do you know it's God? Because it's uncomfortable. Yeah. You know, it's not something I want to do. I like to say this, even though I know it's probably not theologically correct. Like, God don't care about my feelings. You know, He really doesn't. Because like I said, I would much rather be behind the cameras. But it's like, no, this is what I'm calling you to do. But Tam, you, even though you're not monetizing as of right now, you're in a unique position. Because when I met you guys, Pat was working somewhere else, and then events happened, and so he became a content creator, and that, I'm sure, just drastically changed your life. And so you being a spouse and an extension of that, it's like it has a drastic effect on you. So how has that been, being the spouse of someone who does create content full time? How has that been?
It's been humbling. That's the simple word that I would give it, because we had to make some sacrifices to allow for that to happen. It was 2016. My husband had been laid off for the fourth time since at that time it was 6 years in marriage, going on 7. And yeah, it was rough. It was rough seeing him in the place of knowing he needed to go to work, go to a 9 to 5, but not wanting to do that. And I remember, and I hope he doesn't care that I'm saying this, but I remember one morning I'm getting ready for work. He's still in the bed, and I'm like, bruh, you cannot call out again. You gotta go to work. And it was a struggle, because he knew, and I knew it too, honestly, that he wasn't called to a 9 to 5. So it was like, okay, Lord, what do we do from here? Like, this is the fourth time that he's been laid off. And God is kind of like, okay, y'all gonna get it. This is, I've been trying to set y'all up, but it's kind of like I won't say we were putting ourselves, taking steps back, every time he would try to get a job, we were trying to figure it out. But, it's been humbling, for me to see where he is now. Like, if I talk about it too much, I'll probably cry, just because God has just graced him so much in the space that he's in. For people who don't know, my husband, he's I call him a musician. He doesn't play, but he's a sound designer. He's a rapper. He's a hip hop composer. He's a music composer, a producer, and so much more to so many. He's a writer. So much more to a lot of people. And he has been full time since 2016. And it's been a journey, but I've enjoyed seeing him flourish. This past month has been amazing with just some of the great things that has come his way. And I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see where God is going to take him. And what was your question?
Your experience.
Okay. I'm just making sure I'm answering.
You're doing good.
Okay. It's been a journey, but I told him, and he probably is like, he's telling too much of my business, but he wanted to quit at one point, and I told him that he couldn't quit. And I didn't necessarily know why I was saying that, but I knew it was the Lord telling me to tell him that. And since that day, the endurance that I've just seen in him to just make it work and allow God to just make things happen, has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very proud of him. I'm very proud to be his wife. I try to tell him that as often as I can. And trust me, I can do a lot better with, support and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the mix is, Pat it's good. It's good.
And I think I told you this before, and it even goes back to just perception that we was addressing earlier. Just even though I haven't been directly in your lives, just watching from afar, I've always just seen you as just a huge support and encouragement, because I can understand how the toll that takes, and I don't want to like generalize women, but I know that's one of the things that they love is stability. Mm-hmm. And when that's taken from them, I can imagine that most women wouldn't respond the way you have. And I've just seen nothing but grace in that whole situation, even though I'm sure there's times where you just, don't feel that way. But it's just been an encouragement for me, because my situation is kind of the reverse, where my wife wants to create content. She's a photographer. She wants to do that full time. And in my mind, I'm like, it's not something that's stable. We need a stable income, but it's the same thing. Like, she does not want to be at this job.
Right.
She doesn't want to. She can't stand it. And again, talking about telling people business, like, she's potentially up for a promotion, and like she was almost, I had to like convince her, bro, take the promotion. It's more money. But she's like, I just don't want to do it.
Right.
And just that same kind of deal where it's like, I know she was not made for that. And just trying to be as much as a support and encouragement, but realizing we still got bills to pay.
Yeah.
Wanting to support your spouse's dreams and passions, but also having to deal with the reality of the situation and realizing that there's going to be sacrifices that are going to be made, that you're going to learn so much about your spouse, but also about yourself too, that do I truly know what it means to love somebody unconditional, to truly show grace in these difficult times. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that. I did mean to ask you this earlier, Bonita, and I forgot. So I had saw on social media that you had posted that, I believe it was called an ambassador for Black girls in media, and I didn't know how much you could talk a little bit about that.
So Black Girls in Media is really just an organization that is trying to get the buy-in from Black women across all media outlets, so radio, news, podcasts, blogs, social media, really putting us at the forefront of telling our own stories. There's a quote that whoever controls the media controls the masses, and I think that for a long time we have been at the mercy of other people telling our stories, and it's just something like a message and a value that this organization has that I really, really connected with. So I was excited when they reached out to me. But we just kind of go behind the scenes of a lot of different influencers, a lot of different newscasters, things like that, showing what they're doing, showing the Black woman's impact in the media space. And I'm really just getting started with it, so I don't have a lot to share. But I'm really excited about it, just for what it stands for and what I believe it can accomplish.
And that's something about me too, that I try to be very intentional with the people that I have on. I didn't want to create a podcast. A lot of podcasts that I listen to is just very male dominant, and wanting to create spaces for not just males but women as well, and people of different ethnicities, but specifically women of color.
Right.
And that's very important to me, because as I've grown and just learned just things about the world, that just the Black woman is very marginalized in society, and that wasn't the case for me, because I was grew up with just surrounded by just very strong Black women, and a lot of my friends are Black women, so it's always hard for me just to understand like how Black women can be devalued, because they're so important in my own life. So I try to be extremely intentional about, if I do have a platform, making sure that you guys' voices are heard, and that it's very important, because you guys have played such an instrumental role in my life. And now that I'm the father of a little Black girl too, how important that is, just for her to see that representation. So I'm excited to hear about what you guys are doing, and they've got a very good ambassador when it comes to that. But I wanted to end with this. So we're creatives. We do share the same worldview. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on what are some things as far as, Christian content creators and just Christians in media that you see that you like, and things that we can potentially improve upon, because that's really big for me. I feel like a lot of times Christians are like put in this box, that we have to be a certain way, and it even challenges me and myself, and how I view certain things in the world. But so many times we're just kind of like these weak-minded individuals who just use Christianity as a crutch, or that we just blindly follow and like don't really think this through. It's like, how are you following the book that was given to the slaves? And it's like, we think a little bit deeper than that. But, and again, acknowledging that we've played a role in how we've been presented as well, especially in the media. But just as someone who is a Christian and wanting to display certain type of content, what are some of the things that you guys see that we need to, that you like, and something that we could improve upon?
Tam.
So, trying to start with the positive here. So I think
that's why I passed it off to you.
Yeah.
But let's sit there. That it's hard to even think of some positives. And why do you think that is?
I think we struggle sometimes as Christians to put on the face, honestly, of just perfection. And that's one thing that I'm still working on that, but I'm learning that there is a major blessing in vulnerability and transparency, because God called us to commune together, be a part of each other's lives. How can we do that if we are not honest, authentic, open, transparent, whatever word you want to use, to show that we're human? Yeah, we're Christians. We believe in Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was perfect, but he didn't create any of us to be perfect. So I think if we could get over that even more, because I feel like it's trying to roll through, you know what I mean? Then we can reach the masses. We can reach more people, and more people will be open to us being a part of, or I'm trying to be PC at the same time. Just being willing for people to allow us into their spaces more.
And you're a person.
Thank you.
You're real.
Yes. Yes.
You deal with stuff.
That's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a face of, I'm a Christian, I'm a happy little Christian, God is good all the time. Yeah, he is, but sometimes I'll be like, okay, Lord. So I just think if we could get over that, then we would see a little bit more of what's the word I'm looking for? Acceptance to our content and what we're trying to present to people. Yeah.
Now that you've had some time to think.
It's my turn. So I think definitely the in a box. And then I've got to go to the financial side. Pastor Gay always says that if hustling was a spiritual gift, I'd have it. Because I think that from a Christian business perspective, I think that people think, and sometimes I think our creatives think, that because we're doing it for God, that it should be free.
Yes. Lord.
Because we want to help somebody, or right. whatever we should do should be free. Like, we don't have to take time to create it. We don't have to spend money to create it. Right. So I think that's something that we have to get around. Not that I want to make it about money, because it's not. I'm not a person that's all about money, but you have to understand that you know, the same way you can value someone who doesn't do specifically Christian content, and you pay them, you honor them with your money, but then you expect me to come through and do it for free. It's like, nah, we gotta figure out. But I think that kind of permeates through a lot of issues or a lot of things that we think about as Christians and money. Like even when we have like pastors that drive like nice cars, and then we call into question why they deserve a nice car, you know, things like that. So that's one of the things I would like for us to do better at, to understand that it still is a gift, it still is a product, it still is a service that they're providing, and we should honor, if we like what they do enough to ask them to come do it for us, we should be able to respect it enough to pay them for it.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point, because like I said, you know, being married to someone who does photography, that's always a struggle. It's like, I don't want to charge too much, you know, or even like people who she knows is like willing to come down on price, and it's like it's that fine line that you have to tread, because in my mind I'm like, we gotta put food on the table.
And you know, when she's out there taking pictures, it's 2-3 hours taking the pictures, then she gotta come back, she gotta edit them. So you know, I try to be very conscientious when I ask, especially my friends that are in business. If I ask you to do something for me, I don't want the homie friend, the homie rate. Like, tell me what you charge. Because at the end of the day, if I call somebody else to do it, they're gonna tell me what they charge. And you know, if you lay it on your heart, like if I have Tam do pictures and she lays it on her heart to do it for me for free, that's different.
That's different. But you don't go in with that expectation, of, oh, hey, can I just, I mean, I've had this happen, and it's just, it can be frustrating, because it's like, okay, what do you see me as? Like, am I just a freebie? Because it's like, oh, can I just get a couple shots after church we can just go to the side of the building. And I'm like, no. You know, I have a calendar. You know, I might have something else to do. And it's just, it can be frustrating. It really can be.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely agree with that. And my biggest thing is just engaging culture, because a lot of the content that I do consume is not Christian based, you know, and I just see how many misconceptions that are out there about Christians, especially like I said, when it came about the abortion issue or just any other issue that's like just a hot controversial issue. It's like Christians are usually just kind of pigeonholed, and there's not this nuance. Everything is just kind of black or white. And that's, I have just huge burden and desire just to engage, because even like the word Christian, it just has such a huge connotation. That, you know, Christians usually like white, Republican, conservative, Southern, you know, we rarely think. And then you've got the other end where it's just like just super duper liberal and just so out there, where there's not this balance that we have. And again, just wanting to be able to create, and not everything has to be so overtly Christian. So, because that was one of the other questions that I had, was like, who are some Christian creators? And there's this podcast called the Roommates Podcast. I believe it's this brother named Chris and Hafiz, and they're not overt with their Christianity or anything like that, but they have, you know, guests come in from all walks of life. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Taylor Rooks, but they've had like her, Ben Shapiro, Sho Baraka on. So just a very wide range of people just talking about life, but they're Christians, you know, but it's not all in your face. And I think a lot of times we have to have room for that, because I know especially like in Christian hip hop, that was like a really, really big thing. It's like all your music has to, you know, have to be centered around some sort of theology, or you just can't make music just about your life experiences because you didn't say Jesus enough times. And it's like, why are you putting these rules on me that Scripture doesn't even put on me, that I'm still a human being, that I can still acknowledge, you know, the trials of life, that I have doubts in my faith, that I get angry at God, that I see other people and I get jealous of them, and just have just real human emotions. And just because one of the beautiful things I love is the Psalms. You read the Psalms and it's just so vulnerable, and it's just like, because there's even like psalms called like the imprecatory psalms, where it's like praying harm on your enemies. Like, how often do we hear that happen?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh snap, this is in the Bible.
Right.
But it's like, it's a real emotion
it's real.
that we rarely see, because we've got to have
that we all feel.
Yeah.
At some point in our lives.
Some point.
Exactly. And it's like we people don't get to see Jesus in our Christianity. You know, we try to just make them think that we're have it all together and everything like that. So that's always my big thing, is just engaging culture a lot better. But like I said, just wanting to have that balance, because I can see where, you know, people think you'll get stained by the world. So there is that level of maturity that you do need to have, because it is enticing over there, but people need to see that, you know, and just, you know, making sure you're truly grounded and rooted in your faith. But like I said, this topic is very dear to me, because I'm in school right now, about to finish up a degree, want to get another degree, and it's like I've literally been in school my whole life, and it's like, I wonder, is there ever going to be some sort of payoff? You know, and the thing with me, I haven't seen it done before. The only thing that I've seen is someone who wants to be a pastor, you know, but that's not what I want to do. I do want to teach, but like I said, teaching in the seminaries, and I'm sure we've all been experiencing these spaces where we're the only ones there, you know, the only minority, and it's just like in seminary, it's just like every class that I have, I'll go because they have like an attendance sheet, and I see if there's any other black people in the class, just see what it is. And it's like that space is just even smaller. So even though I have a desire to teach, and I don't mind teaching people who are not in my cultural context, I do feel the need and the burden to always give back to my own. And that's why I think the local church is so beautiful, because you have that place to do it. Because so often when I was thinking of getting my degree, that I'm doing work outside the church. No, I get my degree to help be a benefit to the church. And just viewing things like that. So like I said, this topic was very, very important to me, and I'm grateful for you guys, just supportive of the content that you create. Like I said, you guys are exceptional writers, not just who you are, that the content that you create is quality content as well. So I'm very, very appreciative of you guys, but I didn't know if anyone had any final words, any questions, or anything I wanted to add before we get up out of here. Y'all did. Yes, y'all did, because y'all wanted to bring up something. Go ahead.
Okay, so she handed that off to me. Wasn't prepared for that.
The extrovert gives it to the introvert.
Bonita and I, along with our friend Catrice, we are help me. It's we're not a collective, because that's the word that comes to my mind, but that's not correct.
We're creating a space for creators, Christian creators. And it's funny that, you know, you had the last piece of what you were saying, just about like everything doesn't have to be so overtly Christian.
Right.
Because we had that exact conversation. We were talking about our organization, and we're creating it for creators that are believers, that have been called to do something with their gifts in the world, but they are believers, they are Christians, and specifically for women. Yeah. But we were talking about how, you know, when we think of these things, I don't know that we want to be like, this is a Christian event, because of the connotation that comes with it. Right. Like, when you meet Tam and I, you're going to know that we love Jesus, because we're going to talk about that we love Jesus. Yeah. But I don't know that we want to lead with, you know, this Christian umbrella, just because I think that it boxes us up, it backs you into a corner. And, you know, there are these just two views of what Christianity is. It's the, you know, buttoned up, you know, what you described earlier, or the super liberal, and we fall in the middle of that. But even though we fall in the middle of that, it feels like there's not really a space there. It's just like, how do you fit into the Christian perspective if you're not on one of the ends? So we wanted to create that for women that would need it.
Yo, my world don't stop when the beats commence. Said I'm climbing up this ladder just to get over this fence and run far, far away from the games people play. In this melancholy modern day music, Malay, touche. Pussycats with lives to spare. That kid you know in your heart, nice as hell, he here. Be aware, beware. I hate to see you less a liver or worse. Polar bear, winter time, catch the river. Now that's cold. And like that, now that's old. Didn't buy the last copy of this, now that's old. It's the pepper on your salt, my